Let's go live now to Thornhill, where Premier Doug Ford is making a transit announcement alongside some of his MPPs, along with the transportation and infrastructure ministers. Let's listen in.
We are here today to answer that call. However, this story didn't begin with me. Transit actually runs in my family story. My father was chief architectural photographer for so many projects. He worked alongside the engineers, technicians, and tradesmen that built so much in the GTHA. And he visually documented the progress as they worked through some of the original tunnel projects so many years ago. Through his lens, he captured the very foundations of our communities. Supporting bold, critical building projects like this has quite literally become a family priority for generations. And I'm proud to carry that legacy forward in today's announcement that will bring us one step closer to making the Yonge North subway extension a reality. And this isn't just about tracks and tunnels. It's about connection, opportunity, and quality of life. It's about taking cars off the road, cutting down commute times, and building a future where families can spend time around the dinner table and less in traffic. And as one of Ontario's most vibrant and fastest growing communities, Thornhill, which is a part of both Vaughan and Markham, needs infrastructure that keeps pace with our growth. And this subway extension will ensure we stay connected, getting people where they need to go faster, and at the same time reducing greenhouse gas emissions by more than 4,800 tons each year. And it will stimulate the economy and provide thousands of jobs in construction, making us stronger and better prepared for future growth. This contract award is yet another example of our government's commitment to tackling gridlock and keeping people moving. I want to thank the Premier Ford and Ministers Sakari and Surma for their leadership, as well as all of the partners and people who've helped us reach this incredible milestone. The future is on track, and it's arriving right here for Thornhill and beyond. Thank you, and with that, I have the pleasure of introducing Mayor Scarpitti to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Markham, to the Premier, and of course all our honored guests this morning. Thank you for being here, which is for a very important announcement. And I want to say today we are thrilled here in the City of Markham. The Yonge North subway extension is taking a big leap forward by going underground. And nothing says that you're going to build a subway with the contract being issued for tunneling for that subway. This is a crucial milestone, and I have to say we look forward to the construction starting right here in Markham all the way south to where the subway exists just around the Finch station. I just want to make it very clear that the residents of York Region, the businesses of York Region, commuters from right across the GTA deserve this subway. York Region has advocated for decades that this subway was needed, and it has been and continues to be the most justified rapid transit investment in the GTA. And I want to say a special thank you to Premier Doug Ford, who actually signed a shovel before he became Premier just up the road, committing to build this particular subway. For decades, we had provincial governments of all party stripes that did not invest in rapid transit, and this government has done so. And so from that shovel, which pales in comparison to the big tunnel boring machine that will be used to create this tunnel, we've come a long way. And I want to say thank you, Premier, for living up to your commitment. I want to thank Minister Surma and Minister Zakaria, and of course our local MPPs for their strong support of this subway. If this subway had not been built, by the time the subway opens, there would have been over 3,300 daily bus trips on Yonge Street. And so as much as we need this subway for the people that live and work and come to York Region today, I can tell you it's going to be even needed more in the future as York Region is poised to take the biggest percentage of future growth in the GTA. We have over 190 100,000 housing units to be built in Markham in the next 30 years. And so with that, I want to say thank you to Premier Ford. Thank you to the federal government as well. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also signed a shovel, and I thank the federal government for their ongoing commitment. I also want to say a special thank you to Michael Lindsay and his team at Metrolinx, and of course to Paul Jankowski, President of the York Region Rapid Transit Corporation, and of course York Region for their support of this very important project for Markham and the rest of York Region. And with that, it's with great pleasure that I invite MP Assassi to the podium and thank him and his government for the support of this project as well.
Good morning. My name is Ali Assassi, the Member of Parliament for Willowdale, and today I'm here on behalf of Minister Robertson, the Minister for Housing and Infrastructure. Of course, as you can tell from behind me, it's a great honor to be here with Premier Ford, several provincial ministers, and two mayors here in York Region. And the reason for that, as you know full well, is that our federal government is very much committed to cleaner transit, and we recognize full well how important it is to be there for the residents of York Region. Now, today is a very significant milestone. Our government, since 2015, has committed over $31 billion to transit. And the project today, we have committed well over $2.2 billion. The reason for that is that we recognize full well how important it is to partner with the province and with municipal officials to make sure that we're there for the residents of York Region. This specific project, the tunneling, will begin, according to our estimates, that will assist over 90,000 residents in this area. It will connect them to their jobs, to their schools, and to services. And indeed, it's a great honor for us to be here today in partnership with other levels of government. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's great to join all of you to celebrate this amazing milestone for the Yonge North subway extension. Today's contract announcement brings us one step closer to faster, affordable, and reliable transit that will connect subway riders to regional bus and GO service, making life better for everyone across the region. We know our province is facing unprecedented challenges and economic uncertainty due to the threat of unwarranted U.S. tariffs. Thanks to Premier Ford's leadership, we have responded with unity, strength, and a focus on protecting and building Ontario. This is why our latest budget saw us double down to deliver the most ambitious capital plan in Ontario's history, with more than $200 billion to build and expand critical infrastructure across the province. And we're also building it smarter and faster. It's why we passed the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act to help speed up approvals, reduce red tape and costs, and get shovels in the ground for more critical projects like the one that we are celebrating today. As we work to deliver the largest transit expansion in Canadian history, we're also seizing the opportunity to build vibrant mixed-use communities across the GTA. I'm pleased to share that we are continuing the planning for 2 TOCs along the future Yonge North subway extension at the Bridge and High-Tech stations. These TOCs will create about 40,000 new housing units, including affordable housing units, as well as support over 21,000 new jobs and community retail and commercial spaces. But that's not all. Across the TOC program, we are planning for over 340,000 new residential units across the Ontario line, the Yonge North subway extension, Scarborough subway extension, and the LRT and GO lines. Plus, our subway TOCs will include space to support 75,000 jobs. As we continue to explore these housing opportunities, we are making tremendous progress on the subway expansion itself. Just last fall, we reached a huge milestone with the construction now underway along the entire Ontario line. Minister Sakaria and I are especially proud of the advances we've made on the Eglinton Crosstown West extension, where work is currently underway on the second tunnel. Additionally, earlier this year, we got the contract signed to begin the work on stations, rail, and systems for the Scarborough subway extension. And as we continue to protect Ontario, our government's priority transit projects are supporting approximately 17,000 jobs a year. This subway expansion will make it possible to get across the GTA like never before. Congratulations again, and I look forward to seeing the next stage of this important project come to life. Thank you, and now I will invite Minister Sakaria.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Minister Surma, for your kind introduction and the incredible work that she has done, not only on the TOC side, but getting these projects to where they are today. It's also great to be here in York Region alongside Premier Ford and my local colleagues with some very, very exciting news. And I do want to thank the local MPPs, MPP Smith, MPP Logan Canada-U.S, who've been really, really strong advocates, and Minister Parsa on rapid public transit for York Region and especially this project. Our government knows that investing in public transit is critical to drive our economy, fight gridlock, and create jobs. That's why we're investing $70 billion to expand transit in every corner of the province as part of the largest transit expansion in Canadian history. This includes right here today building the Yonge North subway extension, the Ontario line, the Scarborough subway extension, and the Eglinton Crosstown West extension. We're building fast, reliable transit west of Toronto with a Hazel McCallion line and its extensions, as well as the Hamilton LRT. We're restoring passenger rail service in Northern Ontario by bringing back the Northlander. And we're bringing two-way, all-day service to the busiest GO train routes through our GO expansion program. We're getting Ontarians where they need to go faster. These projects will make it easier for commuters in York Region, Toronto, and across the GTA to access housing and employment opportunities and support thousands of good-paying jobs, bolstering our economy in the face of U.S. tariffs and economic uncertainty. We can't control President Trump, but we can invest in and protect Ontario. Today, the future has never looked brighter, and with that said, I will turn it over to Premier Ford for some exciting news today. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. And Prab, you're doing a great job. You just had your third child? So he's been up all night. For the last week, he hasn't got any sleep, but I've been there, done that, and good luck on that. Anyways, well, what else am I going to say? I'm delighted to be here alongside Minister Sarkaria, Minister Surma, Minister Parsa, and PA Smith and Canada-U.S, and just a great team. And I just want to thank our federal partnership too, MP Asasi. Thank you for coming, and you have some great friends. Dominic LeBlanc, you were saying, I love the guy. He's doing a great job. And two incredible mayors, Mayor Scarpitti and Mayor Del Duca. Mayor Scarpitti, I thought I heard the word 190,000. And what was that, in 10 years or 30 years? Okay, 30 years, 190,000 people. Mayor Del Duca promised 190,000 in 10 years. Units. Okay, units. Okay, I always like having a friendly competition between Vaughan and Markham, but they're two incredible mayors, and they're doing an incredible job. And Chair Eric Joliffe, thank you for your great work, and TTC CEO Lally, and congratulations on your new position. You'll have your hands full over there, but you have a great partner with Michael Lindsay from Metrolinx. You know, folks, you just listen to all the names. I've always said, when the three levels of government work together, we're unstoppable. We can take on anyone in the world. And as everyone here knows, President Trump's tariffs are taking direct aim at Canada's economy and Canadian workers. His decision to increase tariffs on Canadian goods to 35% is only adding to the uncertainty for businesses and workers. And I want to be clear, in the face of the tariffs and economic uncertainty, our government will do whatever it takes to protect Ontario. And I know we have great partnerships, including by supporting the federal government in its efforts to reach a good deal for Canada. And I had an opportunity to speak to the Prime Minister and Minister LeBlanc, and had an opportunity to talk to Secretary Lutnick. And Canada has a good, solid plan to move forward. And in the meantime, we're continuing to deliver on our plan to protect Ontario by making our province more resilient, competitive, and self-reliant, so we can stand up to tariffs and anything else that comes our way from President Trump. I can tell you one thing, we're going to outlast, we're going to outlive this President Trump and these tariffs. We're going to work well together as a country and as provinces and territories and municipalities. That's how we can defeat these terrible tariffs from President Trump. Our government is moving fast, cutting red tape, unlocking our resources, and making Ontario the best place in the G7 to invest, create jobs, and do business. And we're doubling down on our plan to build Ontario with more than $200 billion in investments that will keep workers on the job. This is the largest plan to build in Canada's history, matter of fact, in North America. And it includes highways, roads, transit, hospitals, schools, and much more. It includes critical projects that will get drivers moving again, like Highway 413, Bradford Bypass, and the 401 Tunnel Expressway. We're also lowering costs for transit users with one fare, which saves commuters an average of $1,600 every single year. We're providing $758 million for 55 new subway cars for the TTC, which we want to see built at Alstom up in Thunder Bay, so that Ontario tax dollars support Ontario workers. And that's not all. We're investing nearly $60 billion to build and upgrade more than 50 hospitals, including South Lake Regional Health Centre here in York Region, where we're planning for a new acute care hospital. Vaughan will also be home to York University's new medical school, which our government is supporting with a $9 million planning grant. To date, we've invested nearly $2.3 billion in housing, enabling infrastructure, including approximately $140 million here in York Region. Our plan to build also includes a $70 billion investment in transit, which is the largest transit expansion anywhere in North America. That includes expanded GO train service, the Eglinton Crosstown, which hopefully we're going to get some dates, guys. Hopefully we will. And that's it's not their fault, but this has been a nightmare since I got elected. But we're getting it done, and we're getting it done safely. The West Extension, which was on time, a matter of fact, ahead of time, and it's moving forward rapidly. The Hazel-McCallion line, the Finch West LRT, the Ontario line, the Scarborough Subway Extension, and of course, the Yonge North Subway Extension, which will be a game changer for our regional transit here in York Region and Toronto. So it's a real pleasure to announce we have awarded the contract to design and build the tunnels for the Yonge North Subway Extension to North End connectors. Folks, this is a major milestone in our plan to protect Ontario by investing in transit to reduce gridlock, support economic growth, and keep Ontario workers on the job. The Yonge North Subway Extension will have more than 90,000 daily trips, and once it's built, there'll be 26,000 more people within a 10-minute walk of transit, reducing daily travel times from Markham to downtown Toronto by 22 minutes. Our plan to build historic new transit, like this extension, will also help protect our economy. This extension alone will generate over $3.6 billion in total economic benefits, while supporting 4,300 workers during each year of construction. These will be good-paying, skilled jobs for heavy equipment operators, electricians, plumbers, and welders, specialized tunnel workers, civil engineers, and many more. My friends, we're going to keep investing in our workers, our infrastructure, and our communities. We're going to cut the red tape and get shovels in the ground and we're going to protect Ontario no matter what. I want to thank you all again for being here, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We will now take questions from the media. Please come to the microphone and state your name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. First question.
Hello, Premier. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. How are you?
Laura, I've been missing you guys.
I know.
I've been itching to get out, but like usual, my team holds me back.
Exactly.
So
Wow.
I haven't seen you since the great cough meeting, but
I
great
know.
to see you, Laura.
I wish we were in Muskoka, but here we are. This is beautiful as well.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask, in your opening remarks, you mentioned speaking to the Prime Minister, Minister LeBlanc, and Secretary Lutnick about the tariffs, and you said we have a great plan. Can you offer some insight into what that is? Because we haven't really heard much about, we just said the Prime Minister said Canada's holding out for a good deal. And was your conversation with Secretary Lutnick positive? Because I know sometimes it's been quite contentious between you two. So if you could shed any light on that, that would be great.
Well, without getting into confidential details, we've been communicating, which is most important. I think the Prime Minister is doing everything in his power to get a fair trade deal with the U.S. Dominic LeBlanc, which I've always said is an absolute champion. He's been down there working with the U.S. administration, working hard, again, making sure that we get a fair trade deal. And then Secretary Lutnick had a good conversation yesterday with him. And it was positive. It was positive. But it's very clear, there's two countries in the world that have tariffs on the United States. One is China, that want to economically and militarily, eventually, annihilate the U.S. economically, not militarily, but economically. And then there's Canada, that's been a member of the family for 200 years, that have fought shoulder to shoulder with the United States, that their number one trading partner in the entire world, bar none, is Canada. We do $359 billion a year of products that we buy, not two-way trade, just the products we buy, $359 billion. To put it in perspective, that's more than Japan, China, Korea, UK, and France combined. So you have to respect your largest customer. U.S. is our largest customer. We respect them, but it has to go both ways. You can't have tariffs on one side and not the other. I still stand by what I say, dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. They understand strength, not weakness, and we should never, ever roll over and be weak.
Okay, we know that there's a cabinet meeting this morning. There's a First Minister's meeting virtually with the Prime Minister today. I expect you'll be talking about this approach, because right now you and Prime Minister Carney aren't on the same page when it comes to hitting back. In fact, he said, we're only going to hit back if it minimizes the impact on Canada, and he's suggested he'll potentially be removing further tariffs, or we know that Canada has removed tariffs. So how is the public supposed to know which approach works, and is Canada taking the right approach?
Well, the Prime Minister is the Prime Minister. He's at the table. Ontario is the largest jurisdiction in Canada, and we're be the third largest trading partner in the world if Ontario was a standalone country. So, and I never recommend that. But I have to stand up for what I believe that's going to help Ontario. We have to stimulate the economy. And there's many tools to stimulate the economy, but I've been very vocal on this with the federal government, with people in public. First of all, you have to lower taxes. You have to this is economics 101, folks. You got to put money into people's pockets, and not get taxed to the highest rate of 54% is absolutely ridiculous. We have to reduce our taxes, the federal government, municipalities, and then you stimulate the economy. You put money back into companies' pockets, and by the way, we reduce the cost of doing business by $11 billion each and every year. It was 8, now it's jumped up to $11 billion. And what companies do? They reinvest it into their people, into technology, into infrastructure, into new equipment, and create more jobs. Folks, when we came into office, the budget was $150 billion. We've seen, and never raised a tax, and I never will. We've seen $70 billion of growth here in investment, because we've created the environment and conditions for companies to come here and invest. We have to be competitive against the rest of the world. The foreign direct investment numbers came out about 2 weeks ago in 2024. And we're doing well back in 2024, and we're going to continue doing it. So we had 409 International companies invest in Ontario. They invested $39.87 billion, so $40 billion, and created 25,000 jobs. And when I spoke to Vic Fideli, my minister, he said the pipeline is full of companies coming here. That's not including the companies that are investing here in Ontario and expanding and hiring. But we have to create those conditions. We have to get the governor of the Bank of Canada to lower those damn interest rates from 2.75, knock them down, build confidence. Let's work together on getting rid of the HST on home buyers, and not just first ones. Let's stimulate the market, and we'll follow suit if the federal government does that. And for the municipalities, get rid of some of these DCs. I always say half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. And thank you, Mayor Del Duca, for doing that. And I know other mayors are doing it as well. It can't just be two levels of government, the third level saying, no, we aren't doing anything. It's a joint effort of stimulating the economy. The stress test. A lot of young people can't meet the stress test. I understand, and I agree with the stress test, but knock it down a little bit until young people can afford homes. Those are just 4 or 5 things that would stimulate the economy. Like, this is economics 101. It's a no-brainer. So we need to get it done. Sorry for going off, but these are simple things that would get our economy moving.
Hi, good morning, Premier. Snay Dougal with the Trillium. A couple of unrelated questions for you this morning. We've heard from Toronto parents that there is insufficient air conditioning in many daycare classrooms. Many of these are located within schools. One center had portable AC units installed only several days into one of the heat waves last month, with parents saying that these still aren't adequate in cooling the rooms. Staff are needing to keep kids in just their diapers because it's so hot, and kids are saying that they're feeling sick from the heat. Parents are asking your government to set a maximum temperature for childcare classrooms. Would you consider that?
Well, first of all, it's terrible that the kids have to sit in the boiling hot heat. And I'm all for putting window air conditioning units in and helping them out any way they can. But this has been going on for decades and decades and decades. And we need to help the young kids any way we possibly can. But I can't answer for putting them into standards. And we did that with the long-term care. Now they all have air conditioning. And so we'll look at it with the kids as well.
Thank you. And we recently spoke to the mother of 13-year-old Logan from Whitby. He's regressed since his autism therapy funding was cut in half under your government's autism program. Instead of full-time therapy where he was thriving, he started attending a school in Durham District, and part-time in what his mom describes as a jail-like box. It's a concrete room just for him with no windows except on the door. And his mom believes that the province could save money by reallocating his school funding towards more autism therapy. Would you consider his mother's request, and are Logan's schooling conditions acceptable to you as Premier?
Well, first of all, my heart breaks for young people or all people with autism and the parents, what they're going through. But let me just remind you, I'm going to hand it over to Minister Parson in a second, because he's an expert. When I took office in 2018, that system was broken. It was done. There's 8,000 children on the autism list, and it was $200 million, and they ran out of money in the first month or two. We've increased that, and you got to give me the right numbers, but I thought, what's that? So it went from 200 to 779 million. The wait list went from 8,000, all of a sudden came up to 80,000 or more. Like, something's wrong here. So we got to get down to the bottom of it. But we're funding autism like no other government in the history of this province. I'm going to hand it over to the expert, Michael Parsa. He's doing an incredible job. So over to you, Michael.
Thanks very much, Premier. Well, first of all, the goal of our government has been from day one where we've said we want outcomes improved for every child and every youth in this province so that they have the opportunity to succeed and thrive. That's our goal, which is why, as the Premier said, we increased the funding of the Ontario Autism Program from $300 billion, which was serving 8,000 families in total, to now more than $779 million, serving more than 45,000 families through multiple streams. And we're never going to stop. And I've said this from the beginning, this is the Premier's goal, and that was our commitment, to do everything we can so that every child, every youth in this province has the opportunity to succeed and thrive, which is, as I said, the program, if you look at the Ontario Autism Program that we have enrolled today, is one that was developed by the community for the community. Even the implementation came in as a result of advice from the Ontario autism communities, families, experts, those with, in the sector. They're the ones who provided us with the support. And we won't stop. We'll continue looking at ways to improve supports and services across the province. And one of the ways that we've done that now is our recent announcement of $37 million for 2 years for the Workforce Capacity Fund, so that service providers can hire more staff, expand hours, so that rural, remote communities also have access to the providers, and families can seek those services and make sure that the child and youth has the support and services required. So that's our commitment. We will never stop. We'll make sure that every child and youth in this province has the opportunity to succeed and thrive.
Hi, Premier Richard Southern, 680 News Radio. Reporting from CBC and Global, Premier has revealed that your government studied a tunnel under the 401 back in 2019, and that it was found that it would only save 7 to 10 minutes and that there was a risk of roadway collapse. Premier, why didn't you mention that, number one? But more importantly, why are you seemingly going ahead with this tunnel given those troubling findings?
Well, Richard, times have changed now. We're going to be at full capacity, and just because my favorite saying is, just because it hasn't been done, it doesn't mean we can't do it. So we're going to move forward on that. Obviously, safety's number one. I've been talking about this tunnel since 2018, but now we're going to make sure we do testing all along the highway. But I can assure you one thing: you have two things to do. You either sit there, be stagnant, like a lot of governments did, and watch the capacity on all 400 series highways max out in 10 years, including the 407. Or you think of the future, you think of 50 years down the road. We're building that tunnel as sure as I'm talking to you, and we're going to continue reaching out to experts around the world. If they can tunnel under the English Channel, if they can tunnel through mountains and every other place, we sure the heck can tunnel along the 401. We'll do it safely, and we'll do it properly, and we're going to do the largest tunnel in the world. I talked to some tunneling folks. We're going to make it 19.5 meters. No one's ever done that. We're going to have one lane going east, one lane going west, and the bottom part's going to be transit. So that's what we're doing, and people will be thankful years to come, decades to come.
I also want to ask you, you did mention it earlier, Premier, the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. Yep. Last time we spoke, I know you didn't guarantee September, but you said probably September. The TTC says September doesn't look like it's going to happen. Can you give us more of an update about when we'll be riding the Eglinton Crosstown, sir?
Well, I think I'm going to bring TTC and Metrolinx up here, and I have the confidence we're going to do it, but we're going to do it one way. We're going to do it safely. We aren't going to do it like the city of Ottawa did, and the thing's breaking down every second day. When I came to office, the place was a disaster, and there was 220 non-conformances. But the good news is, I always like saying the glass is half full. We're there. We're inches away. But I'm going to hand it over to the two experts.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to give you an update on the Eglinton Crosstown, and what I'd like to do is quite deliberately link it to the last answer, sir, that I gave you on the Eglinton Crosstown when we stood together in front of East Harbour. As planned and as expected, we're in the middle of serious trial running of the system right now. Every day, well before 6 a.m., our partners at the TTC turn up to drive these vehicles and put them through their paces until 2 in the morning. And as at late July, TTC personnel are also now showing up at Eglinton stations to put the non-rolling stock infrastructure through its paces too. Escalators, elevators, HVAC systems, etc. What we are finding out from this deliberate period of stress testing is that one of the issues to address collectively is vehicle availability and reliability. These vehicles are 10 years old. They're only just now beginning to run the kilometers that were intended for revenue service. And as we do that, we find out what their maintenance profile is. We get a better picture of how to keep them in service so that we can build the availability of vehicles to a level that can meet peak capacity. We're hoping that we're a few weeks away from being able to say that we've got that kind of availability and reliability. We will then trigger the revenue service demonstration test that I mentioned last time, 30 days of running at revenue service in order to demonstrate that this system is safe and reliable when it opens. If that works, then we will declare substantial completion of the project towards the end of September, and then we will work with both the Government of Ontario and the TTC to think about progressive ramp-up of service on Eglinton, itself a recommendation from Justice Horrigan's Ottawa LRT inquiry report. So I just want to conclude by saying we are 100% doing this in partnership with the TTC. My personal thanks and that of my organization to Mandeep and his team. Each and every morning, starting, as I say, sort of at 6 a.m., I can promise you that both CEOs of both organizations are thinking about the plan for the day, what it's going to reveal, and what it means that we do tomorrow.
So September's not off the table for public opening?
Sir, as I told you last time, everything is dependent upon safety and reliability. I am happy that we are discovering right now the things that have to be fixed before we open this line, as opposed to discovering them when the line is open. Every problem that we find today and correct in partnership with the TTC is one that will not present itself when people are riding this. It is not off the table, sir, but as I told you last time, it's always subject to making sure that the system is safe and reliable when we open.
Hi, Premier. Lorenda Redekop with CBC News. You mentioned in your answer to Richard earlier, talking about this 401 tunnel, it sounds like you've done more work. You're talking about one lane in each direction. How much time do you think this would actually cost? Do you have more details?
Well, we're going to do a feasibility study. We're going to study it, make sure it's safe, make sure it's feasible. But I know it's costing our economy $56 billion every single year in traffic congestion. Not to mention mental health alone, just sitting in this traffic jam every single day, seeing the 401 just absolutely jammed. I drove by, I keep telling you, I drove by at midnight. The place, 401's packed along Kipling and that. I'm thinking, where's everyone going at midnight? But at one time we thought we'd have 2 tunnels, but now some creativity, 1 tunnel, 3 levels, and it's going to serve the people for decades to come. You know, I'll be pushing up tulips by the time everyone's riding this full steam. So it's a vision, and it works, and it's going to help our economy and help people get home quicker and get goods to market a lot faster. But it is happening.
I just wanted to clarify.
You've been listening live to Premier Doug Ford up in Thornhill, talking about the Yonge North subway extension, the announcement of contracts being awarded to start designing and tunneling to get that transit project moving. But a lot more coming from that press conference, questions about tariffs, the Premier's conversations with the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, the tunnel under the 401. Of course, we'll have lots more coverage from the Premier's remarks